I remember the first time that the sacred Triduum was explained to me. Holy Thursday, Good Friday, Holy Saturday Vigil. It was explained to me in a way that helped me understand a sense of continuity. It's the Church's longest liturgy. Usually, well, not usually, every time we start Mass, we start with the sign of the cross, and so tonight we did that. But you notice tonight at the end of Mass, there is no final blessing. There is the procession of the Blessed Sacrament, and then departure in silence or staying in quiet to spend time with the Lord. Tomorrow afternoon, the Good Friday service begins with a solemn, silent procession, and then goes right into the opening prayer. No sign of the cross. It does not end with the sign of the cross either. It ends with a closing prayer and a silent procession out. And the vigil on Easter or Holy Saturday evening, Easter Vigil starts with the blessing of the fire, but again, there's no sign of the cross to say something's beginning. So the first sign of the cross of the sacred liturgy is tonight, and the final sign of the cross with the blessing is at the vigil. So there's a sense of unity over these 3 days. As I was praying last week and a half about what this means, what this Holy Thursday, this Good Friday, this Holy Saturday Easter Vigil means, I was actually led to reading from Easter Sunday morning, the Gospel. In some Gospel accounts, some translations, it has the angel at the tomb asking, "Whom is it that you seek?" And in the translation we will be hearing Sunday morning, it says, "Jesus, whom you are seeking." So the angels don't even wait for the question. They know that the people are seeking Jesus. And then they go on to tell about him. I have to be honest. This is a pretty holy crowd here tonight. You guys are holy. You really are. I can tell your halos are glowing and your spirits are radiant. You're holy. So I can say with the utmost confidence, I know that you are here seeking Jesus. So that angel could have been speaking to you. That angel could appear tonight and say to you, "Jesus, whom you are seeking," and then give a message about him. Whom is this Jesus that you are seeking tonight? Why are you here? What is it in your spirit that says, "I want to be in church on a very comfortable April evening"? It's still light outside. You could be doing some yard work. There's probably something on TV. Could be visiting with friends, having a late supper. But something brought you here. So who is this Jesus that you're seeking tonight? Is it Jesus who has come to judge heaven and earth? Are you seeking a Jesus who is going to tell you what you've done right and what you've done wrong? Is it the Jesus that tells you, "I no longer call you servants, I now call you my friends"? Are you seeking Jesus the teacher? Jesus the rabbi? You want to learn more. You're hungry, you're thirsty, there's something you want from Jesus. Is it the Jesus that can answer your prayers? Jesus the healer, to heal your brokenness and pain, to set things right? Is it Jesus the Christ, crucified, who is taking away your sins? Kind of interesting that on this Holy Thursday, it's called the Mass of the Lord's Supper, that the gospel really doesn't focus on the meal. It's mentioned in there. We hear about Jesus at the Last Supper with the words of institution in the second reading, Paul's first letter to the Corinthians. That's where we hear the story of the institution narrative, translated through Paul. Who is the Jesus that we find in the gospel tonight? It is the Jesus that after eating with his friends, took off his outer cloak, tied a towel around his waist, and washed the feet of his disciples. That's the Jesus that the church presents to us tonight. The Jesus of service. The Jesus of dirty hands, washing the feet of his disciples. The Jesus who is not afraid to take the role of the lowest servant in order to teach others. In tonight's translation, Jesus says to his disciples, "Do you know what I have done for you?" And that's a good translation. Do you know what I have done for you? I've given you an example so that you also should do. But there's another account, another translation that has Jesus saying, "Do you know what I have done to you?" And I just like that. I just like that. I've done something to you. You're changed. You're different now because I've done something to you. I've washed your feet. I've given you an example. And there's no way you can walk away from it because I did it to you. This Jesus whom you are seeking is doing that to you tonight. He's giving you an example. And you're invited to partake of it. The washing of the feet has grown and changed here in the Schuyler Catholic community. I remember when I first came, almost 13 years ago. Almost 13 years ago I came. That Holy Thursday, the first Holy Thursday I was here, it's actually 12 years ago. I came after Easter, but I remember as we were getting ready for Holy Thursday, and I was being explained to what the procedure was and how it went, and it's not what I grew up with. It wasn't the same example. And so I had to try to understand it. The idea of people getting their feet washed. So I went back to my childhood. We used to have two priests at St. Mary's in Waterloo, and they did pretty much everything. Except for the live-in cook housekeeper, they did everything. Did the bulletin, did the books, did everything. But over the years, a secretary came in, a bookkeeper came in, then St. Mary's had the first pastoral associate, and pretty soon the priest, instead of doing all the ministries, was starting to facilitate ministry for the staff people. And the staff kept growing. And then the ministry was expanding so much that staff started getting volunteers to help in the ministry. And so the staff became facilitators of ministry, helping, enabling, allowing others to do ministry. And it's like, okay, now this makes sense to me. So tonight, I'll wash the feet of staff because I try to enable their ministries. I try to facilitate their ministries. That's how I minister to them. And then they have somebody that helps them in ministry somehow. And they will wash their foot and then invite you for it. That if you would like to come to any of the staff people that are here, have your feet washed. But whether or not you choose to do that, the example has been set. Jesus is saying, look what I have done for you, and look what I do to you. I change you. If you are seeking me tonight, you're seeking Jesus the servant, who will take even the lowest servant's role in order to build the kingdom. I pray that we all keep seeking Jesus all our lives. And at different points in our life, we will encounter Christ in different ways, in different modes, in different light. But tonight for this short time, I pray that we can all look for Jesus and find him, especially as we serve one.